Hey, Dave, how do you spell... You don't care, do you?
We just got back from seeing Captain Marvel, directed by two people that I really don't know, but also starring Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. Chris,
Dave.
what did you think of Captain Marvel, the newest Marvel movie in the MCU?
I had pretty low expectations going into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The previews didn't do anything for me. I just went into it not expecting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave this a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
So it's above average.
Mm-hmm.
I liked a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like a lot of things. I did not like the third act of the movie. I thought it was just a letdown, and that took it down for me. I actually really enjoyed the first 2/3 of the movie, but that last part was just... It was like cookie cutter for like an action movie, and it didn't like give me... I'm not going to give anything away, but it just didn't have like the power behind it that it should have.
I can't agree more. I'm going to go lower. I'm going to say this movie is a 5. This movie is standard, average, so plain, vanilla pudding.
Plain is a
awful.
great word.
It's not a terrible movie, but it's not a good movie. And the problem I have with it is, I thought about this driving home. Is it bad because I've seen so many other Marvel movies that, have the cookie cutter complex to it? Or is it just not good? Like, which one is it? Like, if this came out in place of Iron Man, would I be like, all right, I'm on board? Or would I still be like, well, I was bored? Because let me tell you, I was bored. I was bored the entire time. I was bored during the fight scenes. I was bored the whole movie.
Bored.
Oh, I was.
It was like... There were the fight scenes in general were not the best.
Shaky cam. It's awful.
There was one fight scene and like a chase scene that I kind of liked, and then any of the other fight scenes were just the camera moved too quickly between shots.
They're not memorable.
And no, they're not at all. I couldn't.
There's no love behind it. There's no. It just doesn't seem like...
It doesn't have a particular, like, style.
No, it's just bland. It seems corporate to me. Like, someone went in and just planned the whole thing out. What will the kids like? What will sell toys? And we'll just make a movie around that. There's no passion behind it. There's no character.
The parts that I actually liked was the chemistry between Larson and Jackson. Actually, I thought they were, like... And it was kind of like a buddy cop thing. But
that should have been drawn out a little more. They didn't do that.
Otherwise, the story was predictable.
Now, I have a problem here because I'm not much of I'm a comic book fan, but I'm not so up to date with Captain Marvel. So, is this character supposed to be as just plain as she made this character out to be? Because it seems like she was walking down Hollywood and someone said, Brie, we want to be in a Marvel movie? Yeah, we need a chick. You in? Yeah, I'm in. And she just walked on set. They gave her a suit and they're like, here's your lines. That's what it seemed like. She just kind of phoned it in.
See, Brie Larson's a great actress.
She is. And
I think that comes down to the directing.
I think so, too.
Well, it's either the directing or it's like, I don't know, the corporate, like, behind it. Like, oh, no, she has to be this way.
She had no enthusiasm. She had no character.
I think that's why I like the parts where she was like when she was laughing, like it showed that she was actually like either having a good time or like
I never bought that she was in pain
serious.
or that she was serious or that she was actually having a good time or actually afraid. She didn't bring much emotion into this character. And granted, maybe that is the character itself, but if so, it's a terrible character. Let's change that around a little for the TV screen. It just didn't do anything for me. And I'll say this about the story without, spoiler free. I like that it didn't, it wasn't like, oh, the universe is going to end. Okay. Granted, the scale, that's not that big. All right. It's more of a closed in a little bit more. And I liked that. I'm like when they don't, hey, the world's going to end if we don't stop this. The universe is going to come crashing down.
Had a bit of that.
A little bit, but not as you get that with every X-Men movie. You get that same with most Marvel movies. Like, I mean, Thor 2, literally the universe was going to end and he has to save the universe. Like, okay, it doesn't matter how big the stakes are. You have to be invested into these characters. And as long as one character's like well-being is at risk, if that character's good and you're really invested in it, then that's fine. A movie can be based around that. I wasn't invested in anybody. I didn't care about anybody. If someone died, I was like, oh, they died. Well, moving on.
The thing is, it's an origin story.
Yeah.
So you got to see Nick Fury, which was kind of interesting to see how he started. And
yeah, I liked that part. But...
I mean, just like it kind of like filling in the blanks on some details throughout this past 10, 11 years of Marvel movies. But like, I don't know, just seeing him. I mean, seeing Phil Coulson, it was like, hey, cool.
He needed to be in it more, wasn't it?
Yeah, he should have been in it a little more. But like,
I thought the whole Shield thing should have been a little, just built on. A little
there was
bit.
like bits of like nostalgia thrown throughout because the movie takes place in the 90s.
Yeah, and I was fine with that. I liked those
so
parts.
But
it's they were far and few.
Overall, it just leads up to just like
this is
underwhelming finale.
Just,
I mean, I guess I liked. I mean, the characters didn't bother me. I liked seeing Nick Fury. I liked seeing her. Just
I wasn't annoyed
together,
with anyone,
like,
but just wasn't
going through. I was
care.
like, oh, this is fine. Like, I was along for the ride. I was, I don't need to go back to see it. I'm glad. I actually am glad I saw it. Like, cool. Like, I'm glad I saw it.
I may disagree with you. Okay, I'm not saying like if I could have waited for this to come out on DVD or Netflix or whatever.
But I still, even if I
Disney
did, I would have
streaming
watched
service.
it. Like, I'd still watch this movie. I don't need to necessarily go watch it again because once you see it, you've exhausted.
So rewatchability is pretty much a zero for you.
It didn't have because it had nothing memorable. It was really just learning the character, learning the origin. It's like, oh great, it's kind of like, oh,
there it is,
up, like a thumb up, like
okay,
hey, cool.
Now she can be in Avengers, and I'll know who this is.
Yeah, it's kind of what it was. It was like,
That's
all right, now we
too.
have a reason for her to be in it, and I'm hoping like her being in it is gonna like she had like a little more freedom to like mold the character a little bit because it's the Russo brothers that directed.
Hopefully,
they're directing Endgame, so.
This is what this feels like, though. It feels like a shoe-in movie that quick. It's almost like a prequel to The Last Avengers. Like, quick, throw this in just to give a little extra hint. Don't have to make the movie very good. And then we'll go... I mean, Black Panther did the same thing, except Black Panther was way, way better than this.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
way better than this. Like, you actually gave a crap about the characters. Like, you were invested in them. You loved King T'Challa. I don't love her. I'm not like, wow, she's a great character. I'm like, wow, she's Brie Larson.
And you were invested in the villain, too.
You were a great villain. This villain, who was the villain? Yeah, well, we can't say because of spoilers, but even so, you're like, that person? What? Really? Maybe those people, but I'm not sure. And kind of, but... so, were you entertained, though? That's the real question. You go to
I was along for the ride. Like, I mean, I was going through... Whether I thought something was, like, boring, or I thought it was cheesy, or I thought, like... nothing's going on, like what's happening, I still was like, all right, you have me intrigued. And then in the last act I was like, okay, like I was just sitting there like
I said
that's
okay,
what I was,
the entire movie,
and that's all action at the end, and
right.
I was literally bored. I was like,
thank you.
Okay,
I was bored through every fight scene
because you can't just have a CGI fest anymore.
No,
and have
it has to be.
It can't
deeper.
be. That's not the spectacle anymore. There has to be life behind it,
and there was none. It was death.
And let me hit on one
it.
thing about the CGI. CGI was incredible. That de-aging technology. Same. I mean,
I gotta say,
like, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Due,
it's not like it's just used for one bit. It's the whole entire movie.
No, and her powers look cool.
And he looked.
Oh yeah, the CG guy looked fantastic. Cinematography wise, yeah, it's fine. And that's look, if you're a Marvel movie fan, it's probably why you're watching this in the first place. Yeah, go see it. Okay, it's not going to kill you. It's fine. It brings some mythos in, increases the lore, and you're like, oh, okay. Some things I didn't agree with how the routes they went, but whatever. And that's it. But if you're expecting this huge blockbuster in March, this ain't it. And it belongs in March.
To me, this was on the same lines as like Ant-Man 2
or Daredevil.
No,
not the Netflix series, which is way better than this.
Dude, Daredevil was like a.
That's what it felt like though. It felt like this could have been a.
No, it wasn't.
To me, it was. It was bored the entire movie. But anyway, I did find it entertaining at some parts, but I was just.
You just said you were bored through.
I was bored.
Found it entertaining.
Yeah,
Make up your mind.
Some parts were entertaining, but I was still bored through the entire movie. Okay, I checked my watch multiple times, but still, I recommend it if you're a Marvel movie fan. If you're not, then don't go see it.